On this episode of DC On Screen, we are going to be talking all about Titans. Season 1. Right after this.
You think of Earth as a singular planet. In fact, it is anything but. For this is a story not of a universe, but a multiverse, where universes and planets, such as Earth, were replicated and mirrored across a vibrating, infinite plane. Some barely different from the next. Others drastically so.
This is DC On Screen. Every week, Dave and Jason talk about the multiverse of DC properties on film and television. But be warned, if it's been officially released, you can expect they'll spoil it.
Welcome into DC On Screen. I'm your host, David C. Robertson. This is my co-host, Jason Goss.
Hello.
We're just sitting here, laid back on a lazy Sunday afternoon.
Yep.
But we sure are excited about what we've seen.
Yep.
That being Titans, Season 1 on DC Universe. If you haven't shelled out your
Christmas
$8
present,
for
DC,
that,
thank you.
What's that?
It's a heck of a Christmas present there, DC.
Oh, it was good.
Mm-hmm.
It was good, y'all.
I mean, I don't want to get all hyperbolic on you, but it might be my favorite property they've ever done.
I think it might be the best show they've ever produced, for sure, so far.
Yeah, maybe.
Not DC Universe, just
it could just be in the honeymoon
DC
phase.
Show.
I mean,
it could be.
But I might be in the warm afterglow, but man, I enjoyed the hell out of that season.
I think this is definitely the strongest first season we've ever seen.
That's probably true. Probably the strongest, foot forward.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, after seeing Coriander fight, I think she was probably trained by her older sister choreography.
How long have you been waiting to do that?
Oh, it's been a couple months.
Weeks. We could just pack up this review now and you'd be like, well, I'm satisfied. I got what I needed done.
Yep. We are DC On Screen.
I'm done here.
We got our high-level thoughts out there, and I got to tell my bad joke, and now we're good.
Oh, sure.
Man.
We'll enjoy our 62-degree day right before Christmas.
Welcome to Bama.
Welcome to Bama. What do you want to talk about this episode specifically?
I would love to talk about the whole season.
Go for it.
I will start off with Dick, which, anyone who listens to this show on a regular basis knows I ain't got no problem talking about Dick.
Solid on the Dick talk. You're going to be so mad when he's Nightwing. You're going to want to call him Nightwing now, and you won't think Dick all the time and make yourself laugh. You'll look back about a year and a half from now and be like, oh, I missed that. I miss giggling.
No, I will. I'll still call him a Dick.
Yeah.
Unless they shoot him in the head, call him Rick. Stupid comics.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I love Dick's arc here. I really enjoy where he starts out. He's not with Batman. He's in another city, and I'm surprised that I find the pilot to be the weakest episode of this entire season.
I don't know.
This season was so good.
I haven't thought about what would be the weak episode. I'd have to go through to kind of find it, but for me right now, it'd be like finding my a weak Futurama episode. There's only least favorites. There's not bad ones.
Right. I mean, I didn't say it was bad. I just said it was the weakest one of the season.
Right. Yeah.
My goodness, man.
Something they did with Dick that I appreciated. Like the fight scenes, as you alluded to earlier, were fantastic throughout the whole series.
Oh, so good.
They were stellar. Yeah. Absolutely knocked it out of the park. Like Arrow's best moments when they go all one shot. That's all they did the entire season was like the highest and best moment of some of the CW shows.
Yeah, and they could afford to do that because they only have 11 episodes?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Not sure it wasn't the 12 or 13 we were promised, but we'll have to wait till that plays itself out. I'm sure the producers will start talking about it, and we'll probably hear something coming up. But because they did change a little bit of where you think we were kind of told they were going, and I'm sure we'll get some explanations for that. But the big thing is there's more coming. It's already guaranteed they're already working on season 2. That was known a couple months ago, so I'm not worried about anything that I saw this season as far as not getting wrapped up. But something the violence did was it was unapologetic, but it wasn't, and kind of gruesome at times. But there was a payoff. That was part of the story. That wasn't just there so they could say fuck Batman in the first episode and turn some heads. It wasn't trivial. All the violence and even the increase in the violence was part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
So I really appreciated that having a payoff and not just being there for the sake of going violent with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I felt like there was a real story there. I felt like there was a real arc for Dick. I love that he was getting worse and worse, more violent, more like Batman.
And clearly dealing with some issues with that, like he didn't want to. I mean, I loved in the last episode when he's in his little inner journey there. Coriander kind of tells him they have that conversation about whether Bruce ever had a conscience. He said, no, he had a sense of order and justice, but I had the conscience, so he slept and I stared holes in the ceiling. It's like, that's perfect. That nails
was great.
I love that conversation. Not to mention his conversation with the clock. That was fantastic.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Did you when you saw the preview for that episode? You knew right away it was all in Dick's head, right? That it was a trick by Trigon.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I was waiting on that. That wasn't a big reveal for me at all.
Based on my Twitter timeline and TV time, a lot of people are not getting that.
I have seen some of that people think that they just made Batman a killer, and like a lot of people said like, they just made Batman into this super violent. It's not my Batman. No, it's not anybody's Batman. It's Trigon was toying with him like a rat in a maze.
Specifically, Dick's nightmare
worst
scenario.
Possible scenario he could come, and he even had to come up with like Trigon. I saw a few people say this too. It's like, Trigon's such a master manipulator. No, he's not. It took him like 5 tries to get what he wanted out of Dick. Dick kept making a better decision over and over again, and then you see the little glimmer, and he changes reality. And like, I think that's going to be relevant, though. I don't know how much Raven saw based on what we saw, because it looks like she kind of comes back and she's staring at Dick, but I don't know if she was kind of getting to watch that journey. I take it she was. Like, it seemed to me like Trigon kind of gave her a front row seat.
Maybe.
Mentally.
I don't know.
But I really don't know. I don't know where that went. But I do think it is going to end up being relevant that, like, this is supposed to be, him breaking Raven's heart by showing, the guy she respected turning dark on him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the fact that he just had to keep changing it in order to finally make him make such a bad decision is going to be relevant. Like, Raven's going to be like, no, he was a good guy. You kept fucking with him. He kept deciding to go home to his family over and over again.
Yeah. Man, what a dark vision of the future, though, for real.
Oh, yeah.
A dark dream of what could be,
Oh, yeah. I do agree with him. I mean, I do hope these people that we're talking about, a couple of them, come to understand that was just a vision. But I do feel him on, like, I don't really want to see a Batman that kills 30, working men for breaking into his place. Yeah, it's not...
God, it felt like over the edge, dude.
It did. It really did.
It felt like...
Well, somebody said it was also like Perchance to Dream.
Series. Yes, it felt a little bit like that, too.
Like they had a dark rated R baby. It's rough. And I know this was like intentionally a vague depiction of Batman because, I'm sure Warner Brothers kind of told him, yeah, you can use him, but don't cast anybody. We don't want a face attached to it. All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it was a really scary Batman.
And that just made me think of the statements James Wan made about how he would have wanted to do Batman. Yeah. I don't need to ever see Batman's face ever again. I could see this.
This was a pretty good horror Batman.
I mean, I don't need him to kill, but
I do agree with Wan, though. I mean, that would be a good horror
popping out
film.
of shadows and
use this method where he's just a specter the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
not the Spectre.
I
know. I heard you. I wanted to clarify for people who were, at the ready, waiting to give a bad rating on iTunes because we don't know what we're talking about.
I don't know who the Spectre is. Yes, I do. he's God's vengeance, basically. Now, there's something else, though. I did see a lot of people were unhappy with this as a finale, and I do get it. It's not very satisfying. It doesn't feel like much paid off. It feels like all they really did was set you up for next season, and I would be a little more frustrated by that if, again, seriously, it was 2 months ago they renewed this show and started working on season 2.
Yeah, and you know what?
That was guaranteed in the bag, so that didn't upset me as much because of it.
At a certain point, like if you watch enough television, at a certain point you got into this season and you said, "Oh, I haven't even seen Trigon yet. They're not going to have time to wrap all that up.
Yeah, we're not gonna get a big bad that gets beaten up at the end of the in the finale, right?
Yeah, and I didn't expect it. And so not only did I see the preview and go, oh, hey, the cat who's playing Trigon who just walked through that portal, he's also that cop talking to Dick in the thing.
Right.
So that's probably all in Dick's mind.
Right.
Cool. But I also went, oh, they're not going to wrap this up.
No.
Like, I knew that, though, probably less than halfway through the season. I went, oh, no, they're taking their time with these characters.
Just from the pacing, like, nah, we're not
they are building these characters out. And, like, I love this, by the way. Like, we're not dealing with, like, a steady big bad every episode. Yeah, we got the nuclear family running around. They were creepy as hell.
But they used
enjoyed the crap out of them
in order to, like, introduce Hawk and Dove and to show these new strangers to each other, kind of get through their first boss level. It cemented parts of their team, to deal with them. So that there was, like, at least a creature of the week for a couple of weeks, but it was there for a reason.
Uh-huh.
And then that kind of went away. We didn't really have that much of a big bad. There was an idea of a big bad that it was out there.
I loved when Corey finds their bodies with their heads exploded, and she's like, "Oh, Dick's gonna blame me for this."
Yeah. Then later she calls, like, the nuclear flame is dead. Corey, it wasn't me.
I loved all of that. I loved that creep eating the fertilized egg. Oh,
yeah, that was good. Again, good character development.
Yeah.
Like, that gave me a real clear picture of who this guy is.
yeah, absolutely. Just a freak.
And the same guy later, the commitment to cut his own throat.
That didn't work out for him.
It did not. not ultimately, but it did prove his point for a second there.
It did. So Rachel, how did you feel about her over the course of the season?
She's one of the ones where I felt like we have some stuff in episode 12 and 13 that was maybe put into next season. Where I thought we were promised a more true to life costume for her, and we never really got that. So I know there's some stuff with her that they didn't wrap up completely. I think they just decided to use their time in other ways. But overall, fantastic. They used her as the through line for the series, and it works.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in the end, say we didn't have a big bad, but it turns out Corey is, and then it turns out she is, and then it turns out Trigon is. And the episode, like the penultimate episode, when her mom's basically just using her and manipulating the whole situation, the thing I liked about it, maybe the most, was they never stopped to tell you about, she poisoned his meal. Like, they never gave you a shot of rat poison or something over in the corner. They just let you figure it out. They kind of trusted their viewer to be smart enough to figure that shit out. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to put together that she's manipulating everybody. And, they do reveal it in the last 10 minutes, but you get to kind of experience that. It was great. It was good. I liked it. I like, as kind of almost like a mystery episode.
Yeah.
A detective thriller episode for it. But either way, for Raven as a whole, I thought they used what she was capable of sparingly, which is good, because it means we got a lot to explore.
Mm-hmm.
And they used kind of her orphan story and everything that's attached to it to the full extent. Like, when she buys into her mom later, you bought it with her.
And I was so pleased with what they did, in as far as, like, as you watch her journey, you see her, like, get into these situations where she's about to trust the wrong person, and you're like, oh, don't do it. And then she, something happens and she's like, nope, Soul Self just told me no.
Soul Self said no. Yeah. She'll bail.
I really like her as far as where she's going. I like Gar. And he's a lot of fun.
For those two, I'm enjoying their relationship. But one of my favorite lines for Raven, period, was, and it was a great moment when Gar kind of tries to make her feel better at the table. Like, he reaches out to touch her hand, and her soul self leaps out. And he did a great job with that. Just petrified. Like, for a guy who can turn into a tiger, he has this, oh shit, look on his face. Mm-hmm. They did a wonderful job with that moment, like how scared he is and should be, and then he's still kind of brave enough to hang in there. I like that. But later her mom asks her, like, so what do you do? And she just says, he tried to make me feel better. Like, she blames herself for that. Like, I loved kind of like it felt like she learned a little bit right then. I appreciated that. Like, she learned a little bit about herself right as she was saying it out loud. It was a good moment. One of my favorite lines of that episode.
Yeah, that was awesome. So, we didn't get a whole lot of Gar this season, but I really loved his continuing line of being the tiger that never bites anyone, but oh, when he does.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, he bit that dude. Hey,
he did a little more than that.
I know. Am I the only one who thought this though? Because this is kind of a crazy thought.
Okay.
But not that crazy. Because his biology changes completely from human to tiger when he's in that form. Like he does whole hog transformations. Well, whole hog, forget the pun. But as soon as he bit into that guy and he came back and I saw the blood pouring out of his mouth, I thought, ooh, change back. No. You need to digest that guy before you change back into a human. That's not going to work out for you.
I'm not sure he actually ate the guy's entrails. I think he just ripped them out.
Got a lot of blood in his mouth. I just kind of thought, like, why don't you just stay in there for a few hours, let your body work on that, and then go back to you.
Yeah, that was rough, man.
It was. He did a good job with it, though.
He did a really good job with it.
Did you see, it was probably a few weeks ago, him talking about having to film scenes, like, in areas where it was almost snowing, but he had to be naked in order to get a couple of scenes shot?
No, I didn't see that.
He was just complaining about, like, oh, dude, it was so cold.
So does it bother you that he's not green all the time? Jason?
Not even a little bit. Okay. Again, think of all the action and the violence we got. Think of all the effects that we got. And think, with him and Coriander, would you have rather traded any of that for them to have the skin color you're used to in a book that costs nothing to color? No.
Exactly.
Answer is no.
And to be fair, they turn green at the appropriate times. Like
they do.
He turns green when he's about to change.
Yeah.
She turns orange when she's, frying a dude.
Yeah. It wasn't worth it for me. In a perfect world where they had enough money, sure, let's do it. But in a real world where they have to make choices, I get it, and I'm okay.
Yeah. Plus, I guess now this is as good a time as any to go over to Starfire. I kind of dig her whole, mystery backstory. I like that they're kind of bringing something different and new to it.
That was one of my favorite parts of the first 2 episodes. And that's kind of partially why I'm not at all willing to call the first episode weak. And I know you just said weakest. You don't mean that as a slight, but
I don't mean it as a slight. I've enjoyed the entire series for the most part. There are a couple of CGI shots that I just kind of went, ugh. But
every now and then, yeah. But for the first episode, she carried a lot of that for me. The mystery of who she was, her going back and burning the crap out of those Russians. Her little flashbacks and her literally having to kind of, and it really did. It reminds me of like college level blackout drunk, wake up the next morning and have to detective style figure out what happened the night before. Mm-hmm. Obviously on a larger scale.
You sound like you speak from experience.
I went to college. I got the most of it. That carried that episode for me pretty hard. I was pretty happy with that. And then they did put it down a lot. She just kind of became one of the team, and we trusted her. And then there was a explosive, they took another look at it later in a much more violent way. Mm-hmm. That I don't know. Again, I thought it paid off really well. I really liked what that ended up being. Where the problem was.
Yeah, no, she's not the Starfire that you know from the comics. She doesn't have that innocence that she did in the books. She didn't, right now she doesn't have that sweetness about her that she's known for. But
in this show,
this is a new take.
The only 2 that kind of still have their innocence are really, the youngest 2 on this team, the kids.
Yeah.
Kind of. In story, they made this make sense. The adults are adults, and the kids are still a little bit naive.
Yeah.
They've kind of preserved a little bit of their childhood. Everything will be okay feeling. Garfield's
but in a way,
very optimistic.
I do feel like...
I love how Rachel's one of the optimistic ones still, somehow.
Yeah.
At his heart, Dick is a darker person than freaking Raven in the show.
Mm-hmm. I do really like, if you really look at it, Starfire, and the detractors are going to say that I'm stretching here, and maybe I am. But in a way, making her have amnesia, I feel like they retain some of Corey's innocence. You know what I mean? And she is a sweet person. She does genuinely care about Rachel. She
really does love these
the
kids.
people on this team. But yeah, I think whatever she is, she is in this show.
When she came to this planet in this show, she came as an assassin.
Yeah,
it was
basically
there was no hope and optimism and naivety and love in there. She was here for the right reasons. It's the anti-hero thing. She was here to save the world, but it was by killing a kid. I mean, she had made her choices.
So, I think that's an interesting backstory. I think that's an interesting way of keeping the innocence about her, is like her not knowing exactly what she is, why she is, or why she's got to find this girl.
And then when she does figure it out, she snaps back into it. Donna Troy kicks her ass. She wakes up and she feels bad because that wasn't.
Oh my gosh, dude!
Yeah, wasn't that
Donna
great?
Troy,
that lasso shit.
Donna
Ooh.
Troy. Oh man.
Yeah, excited to get more of that next season.
Yeah.
But even then, like, you remember, even as she's in the finale, like the last couple shots, she's still got red marks on her throat from Starfire grabbing her. But Rachel even says later, like, I know she was trying to kill me, but I could still feel her in there not wanting to do it. Like, there's still Starfire in there.
Yeah.
Like, the one you're used to, the one that's kind of loving and probably wants to crack a smile every once in a while.
Well, this one does. This Starfire cracks a smile.
Yeah, occasionally.
So, dude, I loved Hawk and Dove.
They were great.
I loved them.
If they got their own spinoff, I wouldn't fight it.
I probably wouldn't fight it, but it's a little like Creed on The Office, though. Like, I kind of don't want them all the time.
Ah, yeah.
I think.
Maybe.
Like, I feel like having them all the time.
But when they're there, it really hits the spot.
Yeah, I think so.
Hey, all right, this is a weird thing. You know what? Something that caught my eye in the last episode?
What's that?
I did like that even in this supposedly wonderful home life that Dick has, that he's supposed to be deciding not to go back to.
Yeah.
There's still like a past that Hawk and Dove had, and there's still like a past that he and Corey had that is all kind of incorporated in that. Mm-hmm. And they have a very loving, supportive kind of marriage. But then, I think it's because Trigon interferes that suddenly, like, he's kind of pissed that it's Hank that's there helping paint, and of course it's Corey that's calling and all that stuff. Like, there's a little bit of, like, that's the first time we've seen hostility for those two.
Yeah.
But you know what cracked me up though? I kind of thought to myself, because as they're painting, I'm watching them do it and blah blah blah, and like she was painting the place orange, and there's like this window in the back that still has that light blue paint on it, that kind of light blue gray they had going on. And Hank comes in and is like, I'm about to paint the window, blah, blah, blah. And my first thought was like, why are you going to paint the damn window? You haven't no, you paint the wall first, then you do the trim, just because I know the order of operations here. And I kind of, I thought to myself, these writers have never painted, clearly. Or at least the set designer wasn't on board with whatever they were doing. But then I went back there, and in the background, you see Hank actually putting up painter's tape. And I got distracted, because I watched this twice, so I had time to get distracted by things in the background. And I'm sitting there watching him in the background being like, Hank's painted before. That guy knows how to frog tape. He's like, he's doing this right. I was actually proud of him. I was like, well, that guy doesn't know how. They should have consulted him on what he should be doing in the scene. You watch things twice and you can get distracted by the little things.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't, see, I'm a little colorblind, so I wasn't sure what color they were painting it, but I thought it looked like they were painting it in orange.
Well, she
which
said
I thought
orange
was kind
earlier.
of ironic. Yeah, I didn't listen.
Yeah.
I've got a real bad habit of not listening.
Like, she said orange. Well, again, I watched it twice. But, like, I'm 99% sure. She said orange earlier in the episode when they were talking about the color, and before he was like, you know what, I'm just going to take the afternoon and paint this place. She's like, you're a genius. But even then, Hank's character comes up to her and says, so what are we doing with the windows? Yellow or green? And again, that's actually what made me start thinking about this was like, that's not how you do things. You don't have a can of yellow paint in your house and a can of green paint at your house. You figure out, you have a whole swatch of things, and you figure out which tiny color you're going for. And then you go to the store and you get a couple buckets of that. And then you come back to the house and you realize they didn't mix it right. And then you go back and try again. And then you come back and start painting. You don't just have two colors of paint in your house to go from. Anyway.
And that happens like 4 or 5 times.
It really does. No, that wasn't. I said this one. Well, the computer. Yeah, I said this one. Try it again.
But I was just wondering if she was like, since it was inside of Dick's mind, if she was like painting the room.
Robin colors?
The color that Corey normally is.
Oh, the orange?
Yeah.
I could see it. And that really is really close to how she looks in the books, that orange.
And I was thinking about that orange and like maybe like whatever that it looked kind of bluish purple color in the background. I went, that's interesting. But
this,
I might
by
be
the way,
colorblind, so never mind.
This conversation is why we had to stop doing every episode reviews. Is because we apparently can spend 5 minutes talking about the paint color in the background of an episode.
So, yeah, Hawk and Dove, love those guys.
Yeah.
I just love how brutal it all is.
I love their
how,
episode.
like,
That scene with the car
both their
crash was
episodes.
fantastic. Just the scene's going along, and then car crash, and people are dead. It was one of those stunning kind of. Did that just happen?
yeah, I mean, I thought the actual like car crash looked really bad. Like,
That was one of the moments I think you were talking about when you're like, there's some CGI I would have done differently. But
yeah, that looked rough, and like it was so bad in fact that like I had to go back and rewatch it because I didn't know what had happened. I was like, oh, what even happened? And my wife was like, well, I think it got the brother and the mother.
I did go back and try to dissect like who got. Oh, okay, those two. I got you.
Yeah, I went, all right, well, Donnie and Deanna Troy got
It's good to see her again.
got the old heave ho. Was it?
I enjoyed it. I hadn't seen her in. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen a TNG episode.
It was all right. She was fun. Yeah, I like. Oh my gosh, they're like when he's beating the shit out of that coach that molested him.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells her to leave, and she's like, no. You know?
Shuts the door for him.
She just closes the door. Oh, my gosh.
Like, oh, they're going to be a good team.
And it just fit. So it was so well written because earlier in the episode, she was talking about how she had so much anger and she didn't have an outlet for it.
Mm-hmm.
And now they've got this to get. Oh, it's just so good. It's so good. I do regret not seeing more of Donnie as Dove.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen that more.
I didn't mind where they left
Yeah.
it. Because that's exactly the emotion you should have, is you felt like you wanted more of him. I mean, as a viewer, you felt a sense of loss that his brother felt.
Right.
Nailed it.
So, this lady that's playing Rachel's mom, it bothered me for like 2 episodes.
You'd seen her before?
I'd seen her before.
What was it? I was wondering too.
I couldn't figure it out. And I'm looking at her, and she played Gala on Star Trek 2009. She was the Orion Starfleet officer who was getting down with Kirk in the dorm.
Yep.
And I went, well, that's fine, but that's not where I know her from. Like I didn't remember that was her. She had a completely different look. I was like, I don't know why, but I see her in a turtleneck, and I convinced myself that she was like one of Sean's ex-girlfriends on Boy Meets World or something. But no, I did finally figure it out. I did find it. She was in Dumb and Dumberer.
Wow.
When Harry Met Lloyd, she was the main girl. She was Jessica.
Good Lord.
A movie, I might add, that is now not canon with the Dumb and Dumber series. The Farrelly brothers went out of their way to make it not canon.
I could see that. I'm just scrolling through her IMDb real quick. I don't think I knew her at all. I think I thought I knew her because she maybe looked familiar. I've seen Shop Girl. I don't know if I've ever actually seen Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, I got nothing. I don't think I've ever seen her before.
Yeah, I know I didn't see G.I. Joe.
No, I got nothing.
Yeah.
I got nothing. I probably have just seen her in that Star Trek, and that's the only time I remember her face.
Yeah.
But good job here.
I knew she was evil, man.
I wasn't sure for a minute. I mean,
I
definitely,
just kept waiting for it to happen.
definitely like a few minutes into the finale, I was, this is going to turn poor.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't sure.
I just kept looking at her going, yeah, all right.
Yes, this ends in tears. Question.
Yes.
So set the stage for season 2, episode 1. You have human Dick, who has apparently gone to the dark side. We don't know what that means yet.
Mm-hmm.
For all we know, it means he gets some powers. Trigon's powers and within the show are not. They have not fully elucidated what he's capable of.
Right.
So we have question mark Dick. We have.
That sounds like a medical condition.
Probably it. It's like in a house when every time somebody, whatever happens, someone's like, lupus. No.
Question mark Dick?
Question mark Dick? No, it's not question mark Dick.
It's like scoliosis of the dick.
Actually, question mark reminds me of something. I really enjoyed how they crippled Jason Todd in this dark version. So
Yes.
people aren't supposed to be carrying guns. These guys were normally better than that. But Riddler just capped me.
Yeah.
Riddler
No,
put a
Riddler
cap in
doesn't
my
carry a
eyes.
gun. No, he does now.
Yeah. Things are getting
Damn.
bad. That was perfect.
And I loved it. I thought this was maybe one of my favorite versions of Gotham that I've ever seen on screen.
It was. It was a really cool in-depth look at that city going absolutely postal. And of all things, I thought the hotel clerk really set the tone for me.
Oh, yeah, he was great.
Like, oh, how many hours? And, well, I'm staying the night. And, oh my.
The way he shot up, too.
Yeah. He was, like, surprised. And then he's kind of, like, embarrassed by the fact that he's like, well, sheets, $6. Yeah. And, you can almost hear him kind of, his inner dog is like, yeah, I know. We shouldn't be charging you for that, but Gotham. And then, like, hands him the sheets, like, go put them on yourself. Yeah, but Gotham.
Yeah.
And then goes to the elevator. Yeah, but Gotham. Like, everything about that hotel clerk really fleshed out the city for me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was one thing to see the people beating each other in the streets and humping in alleys and all that, but that hotel clerk really put a pin on it for me.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, one of my favorite credits I've ever seen. And I happened to have paused it to leave the room because I knew there was a stinger that I'm sure we'll talk about in a second. But I paused it, I left the room, I came back, and I saw a credit for Drunk Beating Man. Cracked me the hell up.
Speaking of that guy,
yeah,
we were watching the show, and he starts, they're having sex in the room next door to Dick.
Right.
In the hotel. Mm-hmm. And it's just loud and obnoxious sex.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it becomes like terrible fighting. Like he's just beating the shit out of her.
Well, there was a Trigon Shimmer.
There was a Trigon Shimmer. But I just thought he was changing the news, honestly.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, wait a minute, what just happened? Why is he beating her now? And I was like,
that escalated
that
quickly.
I'm like, that happens. Like seriously, like when I've lived in apartments where I would hear stuff like that go on, like where it's just like, oh man.
Where it went from like foreplay to very rough sex very quickly.
Oh yeah, like the first place I ever lived, it was just, but you would hear there was these two dudes across the hall, and you would hear them going at it, and then all of a sudden, it's like they're cursing but out of pleasure, and then all of a sudden they're not cursing out of pleasure anymore, and then, like one of them's running out, and the other one's like throwing dishes and shit.
Nice. They're
like naked in like the breezeway, like throwing shit at each other.
Nice.
I don't. It's a real thing.
You ask about it later, and you're like, "It's just how we are, We love hard, we play hard."
He said some shit pissed me off. Like, okay. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely a thing. I've seen that happen before. Like, I've lived in a few apartments where I've seen something like that happen.
Not just the fetish type thing. It goes beyond, like, fetish is fine. Then you get into, like, y'all need to see somebody. You two need to sit down and talk to someone with a degree about this. Because this isn't just we like it rough.
So that didn't even, like, the shimmer didn't even make me think that anything changed there. I was just like, that tracks?
That didn't set you off at all. No, it was when he's talking to the little tiger, and he says, like, should we go home? Yeah, we should probably go home, buddy. And then shimmer.
Yeah.
The shimmer of doom.
Yeah, you're right. That is what happened. I just went, that's a Tuesday night.
Yep, that used to get in the way of my viewing of The Office. Yeah.
Oh, man. You're being too kind. It was way before The Office.
Oh.
I'm not sure you know this, but we're old.
Yeah, we are, aren't we?
Unfortunately.
Used to really mess up my friends' time.
It's not that old.
Somewhere
we're
between
not that
there.
old.
Somewhere between.
Man, you're going to mess up my discount VHS viewing of Changing Lanes.
There you go.
Yeah.
I was really enjoying the first season of Ed, and then these guys started.
I was trying to watch the 4th season of Smallville.
Somehow there was more humping outside than on that show.
All right. So speaking of Jason Todd,
I do have a couple questions.
Oh, sure.
Real quick. I was trying to say, like,
fine.
Season 2, Episode 1. Set the stage.
Set the stage.
Question mark Dick is where we started.
Yeah. Damn it.
Then you have Garfield, who I assume is he's there, but I assume is going to be kind of confused about everything he's seeing right now, because he just thought he was going to die, and he woke up, and there's people that weren't there when he was. He's going to be confused, I assume. Raven might even be aware of the inside journey. We're not sure. We're not sure exactly what she saw, what just happened. All we know is that she knows he has those lines in his eyes that her soul self has. So he knows something. She knows something's very wrong.
Right.
And then it seemed to me that she was getting a sense already that her dad may not be of the utmost character by the end of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So we have her probably about to turn on her dad. We'll just go with probably about to turn on her dad.
Yeah.
Garfield will he'll take her side immediately. I'm willing to bet on that.
Probably, yeah.
We don't know what Trigon's capable of. We don't know what level he has control over of Robin over. But whatever little force field it is that they have, where Trigon let Dick go through, but not those two. There's like 2 demigods on the perimeter of this house.
Mm-hmm.
One of my questions is, like, we're about to see, if it feels like that's a really good powder keg for we're about to see a lot of cool special effects in the first episode.
Maybe. I hope so.
Because at the very least, we have to see how Trigon is going to control Dick, beat Raven, possibly, and Garfield, and then somehow manage an escape with 2 demigods. Feel like we might have a really fun episode.
We might. I've enjoyed every episode so far.
Yeah.
Though, so I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Mm-hmm.
Just hoping it doesn't take a big old Riverdale dive.
The old Riverdale dive. Yeah, it could.
The old Riverdale dive.
It could.
I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
Should we keep calling him question mark Dick, or should we move on to something like Dark Dick, or my preferred, Black Dick?
I knew you were going to say Dark Dick. I didn't see Black Dick coming. That feels too medical. It's somehow better than Blackened Dick. That feels particularly wrong.
Oh.
And I don't feel like Night Dick is appropriate either. We've spent way too much time enjoying his name.
I'm sorry we didn't refer to him within the context of that final episode. I feel like we should have referred to him as Dream Dick.
Dream Dick? Yeah. It's a missed opportunity. Oh well.
Yeah.
All right, I have a different rhetorical question, which is, I promise, a dickless question. But it is about wood. So, is that not the first live-action Scarface?
I think it may have been.
And like,
I was excited to see him.
I know they were doing everybody else in shadow with, here's part of the costume over here, and here's Harley's tattoos, and there's a bloody coin in somebody's hand, and even the ventriloquist, they still put him in shadows, but they showed us a pretty solid Scarface. And I
saw the bald head.
I just found my
Scarface.
Yeah, I mean, everybody was true to form as far as like tattoos, body type, got it, costume. Like there was no cheapened version of something. They did a version of something. They just didn't show you the whole one. And I just kept thinking to myself, like, damn, WB has some strange IP rules.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you can use this entire catalog of people. You can refer to the Riddler. You can have Harley, who's theoretically in at least 3 places right now.
Oh, I don't know exactly how it works with streaming. I imagine they can do whatever the hell they want on streaming, but I'm not sure.
No,
I really don't know.
Would be WB, like the actual Warner Brothers creative team that says you can use it, but only up to this point. Like the old Diane Nelson role when.
No, but it's not that. That's not the issue. I promise you. With the Batman properties, with the Batman IPs, the problem is the Fox deal. Like Fox has first right of refusal, so that's why Gotham is on Fox. For television rights, yeah.
So Fox had to tell them you can use the idea of him, don't cast him, all that stuff.
And it may actually be why this episode didn't air next season because, well, I don't know. That's probably not true. I was thinking like maybe season 2 would be on while Gotham was on, but that's not true. No,
and the way they have played it this season, there is a real Bruce Wayne out there who realistically was kind of getting so violent that this version of Dick Grayson decided that he didn't want to be a part of that anymore. That part's real. It
sort of, but it was more or less like Dick took a step further than Bruce did and let the guy that killed his parents die.
Yeah, there was a whole Tony Zuko.
Like it is less about Bruce and more. It's like I think it's less about Bruce and more about what Dick did.
Yeah, but
it's about his own.
The fact that his inner dialogue about Bruce involved him, like right before he steps on his throat, Is like, you always wanted me to turn dark kind of thing. Like, either he's imagining that was the relationship they had, or the relationship they had was similar to that. Like, I'm not sure if he's projecting there or if it's actually accurate. You know what I mean?
I think Dick is blaming Batman for something that
some of the more violent decisions he's made.
Yeah, I think Dick took a step in the wrong direction, or a step or two in the wrong direction. And because Bruce is like emotionally unavailable, and Bruce is, let me skulk in the dark and beat the shit out of criminals, Dick is like, this guy's gone too far. He's made me this way. And that's not what's happened. That Dick is a piece of shit right now.
This is a Dick problem.
This is conjecturing. They might actually introduce Batman in a real way.
They have him in this universe. He may show up. We don't know. And there is...
I don't know what the rules state. Gotham's going off the air. Once they're off the air, they might be free to do more. I don't know.
And Gotham's still like they still haven't done a true Batman. I mean, we have this. What is it? This they do series arcs for Gotham. Like they name their seasons. And what's this one called? Like The Dark Knight or something. I mean, it's something very on the nose. And like the producers have as much as promised us, you will see Batman before the end of the season. Like, but they've been. I mean, it's been years now, and in the meantime, we've seen Batman on the big screen. Like, I do think now maybe Fox's first right of refusal. I can't remember if we haven't talked about that or I didn't know about it or I forgot. But
that's for television.
So for television, they have first right of refusal because they have the Fox deal with Gotham.
Live action television. Yeah.
Okay, so that may do it.
I mean, I think it was a holdover from the old '66 series, honestly.
See, but they have to do it in perpetuity. So, but that has to be renewed. Like they have to do something every few years to keep that going. Normally, like it's the same reason you see a Fantastic Four film every 4 years, no matter how shitty it is.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's all played because I haven't kept up with it.
Yeah, there's not like a standard contract for the stuff. You just kind of have to glean as much as you can. But
yeah, it's one more instance of me being a shitty host.
One more wrinkle in the God knows what they're up to. But yeah, like they do have it still out there, and they've shown a deeply violent version, which in some ways kind of makes us as fans want to see a version we're more familiar with. Mm-hmm. So I feel like they set themselves up for the best of the best possibilities. If they can get access to the character and introduce him on the show, maybe they do that. Sure. If they can't, he can always just be a guy that in the actual canon of the show that didn't just happen in Dick's mind, we just kind of really saw like one time in a window, you know?
Yeah. And to be fair, I think this isn't out of character for Dick. Like, look at Old Wounds. Like, there are several books. There are several comics. Like, huge storylines that go throughout the Nightwing runs and everything where Dick has this idea that Batman is this like dark, mean piece of shit that never cared.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Dick has an issue with Bruce. Bruce and Dick have issues.
That's the crazy part. It's kind of the point, almost 80 years into, about 80 years into all the properties that DC bought up when they began and then as it's been DC. I mean, we're most of the way through a decade with a lot of these characters. It is hard to find something at this point that isn't precedented somewhere, somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, and, I don't know. I've ranted about this on Twitter
recently
recently and on
saw
TV
that earlier
Time.
And just thought, get him.
Because there's just so many people who are saying that this show has ruined the characters. And they haven't ruined the characters. The characters have been, as I said, created and rebooted again.
That's the best way to put it.
Alive.
If this show ruined the character for you, then that character was never really alive for you to begin with. Like if you feel so strongly about your version of a character that you were attached to, and again, keyword here is version. Mm-hmm. If you feel so strongly about one version of it that another version of it pisses you off, then the version you still cared about, that you cared about to begin with, is still very much alive. And at some point, you'll see it again. I promise.
And pissing you off is one thing. I mean, it's a little silly because of, the fictitious nature of the characters. But I get it. I still have my problems with Dark Knight Rises. But to say that they ruined the character for you, what?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that's possible. For you to feel that strongly about it, that character's still alive in your heart. It can't be ruined. By definition. Just be patient.
Yeah.
If you don't like that version, don't watch it. But you don't have to boycott everything. You don't have to get pissed. You don't have to, just be patient. It'll show up again.
Like I've I saw a couple people saying like, "Oh yeah, this is just more proof that Warner Brothers hates the DC fans," and I'm like, this DC fan is very happy. I don't.
That's one of the dumbest possible takes on this. Oh, Warner Brothers hates the DC fan. They're the market.
I'm not saying you have to like everything. I don't like everything. But, oh my lord, y'all!
It would literally be like trying to feed, like, let's say you go fishing with anti-fish bait.
Anti-fish.
I don't know what anti-fish bait would be. I don't know what runs off fish. But let's say that's what they're suggesting is that the WB is putting that on the hook, throwing it in the water, and saying, "Fuck those guys."
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. No, they want every single dollar, every comic that's bought, every time someone streams a copy of Batman Begins, they want all that. They want the Adam West series fans. They want all of that because that's where money is, and it's the only reason they exist is because they get money. I don't. Anytime you see someone, and I use this. This is my philosophy for anything. It's for, especially for what we do. I use it for politics. I use it for religion. Anything. Every time, my philosophy is follow the money. If someone's doing something and it's losing them money, and you don't understand why, figure out another angle because there's a way that company is doing something and finding money that you're not seeing. If your version of reality involves that company losing money, you're not seeing it straight.
Unless, of course, they just, go out of business.
Yeah, if they're just bad at
Eventually.
If they're bad at being a company, that's one thing. But they're trying to get the money.
Heck, no. There's some way. There's some way they're getting money. I'm just not seeing it. Oh, today they announced they're closing their doors. Well, never mind.
That's happened to me. Where, like, especially with local businesses, where I'm like, that's confusing. Okay, what are they going for? But on especially on a successful company like WB, like anything that's got a stock market value, for God's sake, like anything, I promise you, the philosophy works anywhere. You look at the company, you don't understand the actions, figure out how they're trying to make money. That will explain those actions every single time.
Yeah.
And if they're bad at it, you have to account for that. If the business was going to fail, it's because people didn't know how to make money. So then you're going to, at that point, you're going to be able to diagnose, oh, that's where they screwed up.
Well, look, man, I think especially with the way that some fans reacted to the DCEU, the way some fans are just livid over the fact that Christian Bale isn't still Batman. I think when we watched that episode of DC Daily, I don't know if you watched it. I watched it. The first episode of DC Daily on DC Universe with Kevin Smith. One of the things they emphasized over and over again was, what is your DC? Like, they emphasized a difference in everyone's DC. And I think something that Warner Brothers realized, I hope they realized, is that everyone has a slightly different version of all of these characters in their head based on X, Y, or Z, whatever they were introduced to or whatever they fell in love with, whatever version. So it's really tough to nail down one version. I think that's why they're doing this Black Label bullshit and doing a separate Joker movie. I think it's why they're doing a live action R-rated version of Titans, while at the same time they're doing Young Justice and Teen Titans Go. I think it's pretty obvious. They're even talking about bringing back Teen Titans proper. So these characters aren't ruined. They're just creating lots of different versions to make everyone stop bitching.
Well, there's if you hear enough rabble from one sector, you can say to yourself, okay, how much rabble is there? Well, there's X amount. Okay, well, how much would we have to spend in order to make that property? Well, we'd have to spend Y. If X and the amount they'd have to spend in order to consume that property is greater than Y, you make that show.
And they know there's going to be people like us who are going to watch all of it.
Yeah.
I'll watch the hell out of some Teen Titans. I'll watch the hell out of some Teen Titans Go. Man, sometimes I just sit up at night and watch clips of Teen Titans Go on YouTube and laugh my dick off.
Yeah. It's one of those shows I've never gone back and watched, and I'll probably have time at some point. But every time I see that an episode of Teen Titans Go, I get a few chuckles out of it at least, and think, well, that was delightful.
At least.
I've never watched it and thought, how dare they? Blasphemy!
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's a little annoying. It does get a little obnoxious.
Yeah. And I know Here,
But
big giant disclaimer for what we're saying right now. We've done this over and over again where we said, like, no, I don't like what they did with that character.
yeah,
I mean, we hate Dark Knight Rises. Passionately hate it.
yes, that is my big waving big flag saying yes.
This is where you pissed me off.
But I will also say the Nolan trilogy. There was a lot to love in
Oh,
there.
hell yeah. The first two were fantastic. I mean, the Dark Knight, the middle one was one of the best comic book movies ever made. Top 3 on anybody's list, and I wouldn't argue with you.
And that's despite the Bale strep throat voice.
Right. That poor guy said he was just trying to keep up with Ledger. He was like, Ledger was just doing such a good job. I was just trying to keep,
Oh, he had that voice in Batman Begins.
He did, but he
Don't let him
exaggerated
fool
it. He
you.
exaggerated it more.
He did.
He went deeply into it. But anyway, point being, and God knows if you made it this far into the review, you're probably on our side about this, so we're beating a dead horse. This isn't a lot of people's version of something that a lot of people care deeply for, and for a lot of people, it really hit the spot. For me, it hit the spot.
Hit the spot for me. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I like seeing a new take on these characters. Jason Todd. Oh my lord, man!
You know what they
Love
nailed?
seeing him.
They nailed with Jason Todd to me is he was so freaking divisive when he came out, and still watching him, I kind of think like half of me thinks, I like this kid, and the other half thinks, oh, I hate that I share the same name.
It's like you love him until he starts breaking cops' backs.
Yeah, like that's what they nailed about this is Jason Todd as a character has a history. Like as the Red Hood, he's different. He's an anti-hero, and a lot of people love him. As Jason Todd's Robin, like he was hated. He literally they voted to kill him. Like anyone who
just barely.
Yeah, I mean it was just barely, but
Did you
that
see
was the popular vote.
You saw that DC Universe reposted that poll, right?
Yeah. What was the? I saw that. What was the verdict?
The last time I saw it was like 74% keep him. But that's with hindsight of knowing Red Hood's down the road.
That would be worth it.
Even though I think he should die and then come back as Red Hood.
Like it's worth it to kill him if we can get Batman in the show and integrate that. But then that's one of the problems. I said this in the Titans premiere review. Batman is he's so popular. His character, like his IP, is so powerful that once you introduce him, you almost have to include him often.
See, I don't think so because people argue the same thing of Superman, and Superman not being there is not the reason Supergirl sucks.
I still don't think it sucks. It's just
I don't think it sucks right now. Like Sam Witwer's really good.
There's some
Agent Liberty
parts
is
of there's some parts of this season that I haven't been a big fan of, but they've gotten a lot right.
I'm just saying, if there are problems on that show, it's not because Superman's not there.
No, but you'll notice they still have to explain why he's not there sometimes. Because it's it's seriously, like in chess, it's like having to explain why you're not using your queen.
But if you have Robin there, you're going to have
thing.
to explain why Batman's not there anyway.
Yeah, but they did that for Dick Grayson. So when they did that for Jason Todd, now, like in the regular continuity, not the Dark Dick continuity, they've got him back with Batman, and he just kind of went on this little expedition with the other Robin,
But I
mostly
think,
for himself, like to meet the other Robin and kind of have some fun. Like,
I would love it if like just Alfred calls Dick and says, "Hey, Jason Todd is dead," right?
yeah,
And then we see how that affects Dick, but we know Bruce isn't going to reach out.
no, and there's a lot of supernatural involved in why Jason Todd came back, and if we wanted to, we've got Raven. Like she can make that happen for us. So
She can make it happen, or they could still go. They could still go through the Ra's al Ghul thing. They could still do that. They could do, whatever they wanted to.
you wonder if
It'd
Fox
probably
has
be
first rights on the Lazarus Pit too. No, they can't because Arrow's used them. I think the Lazarus Pit's just out there. I don't think that's. something you
I'm
can
not
lock
sure.
down.
I'm not sure Arrow's been using the Lazarus Pit in a long time, man.
I know, but I was just kind of wondering if it was one of those lockdown properties, but it's not. They could throw that in there if they wanted to.
They could. I mean, Gotham had Ra's al Ghul after Arrow did.
Yeah.
Lazarus
I doubt
Pit
it's
and all.
like, here's the Ra's al Ghul package. Yeah, you can't deal with now. You can deal with eco-terrorism, resurrection, and dude who's a sword fighter who really secretly wants to die.
I'm sorry, Arrow called them the League of Assassins, so you're gonna have to call them the League of Shadows. Okay,
All right, fine.
or whatever it was. I don't know.
What are we gonna
I think
call it? I don't know. The League of Shadow
Shadows
people.
Was the League of Shadows? Was
I
that
think it was
just
the League of
for
Shadows.
Was it just for the animated series? Because they wouldn't let him say League of Assassins?
Oh, I don't know.
I can't remember.
I'd have to look into that.
I think of them as the same. Or maybe it was the League of Shadows and Batman Begins because they didn't want Bruce to know that it was the League of Assassins.
That they were all murdered?
Until he had already gotten... until they got to a certain point. He's like, I'm not going to kill this man. Let me burn down your entire house.
Yeah.
Killing hundreds.
Yeah. That was the big through line. I won't kill you, but I don't have to save you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the giant moral of that story. I don't want to kill anybody, but I'm not going to save him if I don't want him to be around.
I won't kill this man, but I will set him on fire.
I will put him in a subway car and send him on a 200-yard drop. But I didn't kill him.
All right.
Anyway, one more thing I thought was weird in this last episode.
Uh-huh.
And this is going to be just for me and some of the music nerds. You remember he plays 3 notes when he gets into the... He doesn't even get into the Batcave. It's kind of the door is ajar.
Yeah. He plays the piano to make the clock pop out.
Yeah. The chord he plays, he hits the 3 notes for C major. Mm-hmm. Which is so weird to me. Like, C major is like the happiest chord. I mean, it's the most basic, happiest chord you can actually play.
Uh-huh.
And the thing that cracks me up about that is, like, they could have played something that sounded ominous. Like, even if you just scooted it around a little bit, you just rearrange the order of the notes, you have A minor. You could have played anything. Could have played any 3 notes, could have just made him play a chord, could have got into some friggin', what's that opera? Phantom of the Opera shit if you wanted to. Make him play some weird suspended stuff. Whatever. Could have made that anything. And they made it C major, like the happiest damn chord there is. Confused the crap out of me.
They enjoyed the irony of it.
Maybe. I don't know. I wondered if there was like some symbolism they're working for where like when he goes into the Batcave, that's like his little connection to being happy is like when he passes that clock and plays that note, it's like the last time he was happy before he goes into the Batcave or something.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know if there was something going on, but that was a very deliberate choice. They could have chosen anything and they chose that. Yeah. I actually would really love to ask somebody what the hell was going on with that one.
I'm sure somebody knows.
I'm going to have to find him. I'm going to reach out, see if I can get some answers on that.
Do it, man. I support you.
Thank you. You'll support my tweeting?
I guess so, yeah. I mean, maybe look it up or something first. Hate to bother somebody.
I'm going to find the showrunner. Why? Why C major?
That's the question you want to know the answer to? Yes!
There's a lot of big stuff you'll explain later. I'm not worried about that. You're never going to revisit that. Why C major?
My entire life has been prelude to this question being answered.
That's another one.
You're a weird guy.
Just saying the word prelude. They could have played Chopin. Anything. There were so many like dark things that would sound like you were going into the Batcave. That would sound like you were scoring yourself for something like that. And they didn't do any of it. That one really got me somehow.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, to give you an idea of how happy the song sounds, you remember the Beatles song Hello Goodbye?
Uh-huh.
That's in C major. Like, it's the kind of key where like you can't do anything wrong. On a piano, you don't even use the black notes. Nothing. All white. All the white happy notes. You don't use any of the sharps, any of the flat. Anyway, just it's something I want to explain.
All right. Yeah, tweet away. I don't know.
I will tweet about that, and God help me, I may go on this little adventure alone. But if anyone else was worried about that, please let me know because it confused me.
I mean, you will.
Yeah,
you will go on this adventure alone.
I will.
I mean, unless somebody else cares, I don't care.
I doubt anyone else cares.
I'm mildly interested.
If there's some deep symbolic thing, you'll be like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then you'll move on with your life.
Yeah, I will. Superboy, Crypto.
Okay. Yeah. Congratulations, DC Universe, on keeping that completely under wraps.
Dude,
well done.
Doubled down, too. Like, not only are you going to give us Superboy.
Which I was excited when the scene started, because it opened up in a Cadmus lab somewhere in Metropolis, and a guy in that kind of shape, and I thought, oh, no fucking way, we're getting Connor Kent.
You going to bring me Connell, the clone boy? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But then
you gave me Crypto? Thank you. Thank you so much. I couldn't have asked for this much. All right. I got excited when I saw Connor Kent. And by the way, one of the reasons they were able to keep him so well under wraps was I don't think there's even been a casting call for this cat yet.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I haven't seen that hashtag show post something that said, "Oh, we might be getting Superboy." I haven't seen it. For some reason, they just have access to all the casting calls. I haven't seen anything.
I haven't even heard from them in a long time.
They just still post casting calls. They're still posting casting calls for like Swamp League and Doom Patrol, for God's sake. Swamp Thing, sorry. But
did you say Swamp
I
League?
said Swamp League. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Oh my God, I want that.
I was thinking Dark Justice League for a second, but
Can you imagine the Swamp League show? You know, you
Yeah.
have Swamp Thing, you have Poison Ivy, Floronic Man.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Then we're pretty
I'd
much
watch
out.
that.
We're pretty much out of people. Maybe Geoforce.
Yeah, we could figure it out. We could find some more people, some more plant people.
John just being annoyed by everybody.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. But one of the reasons I think that they were able to keep it so well under wraps is I had to pause it because like, no, seriously, did they cast somebody for Superboy? And I went through the credits and looked. That guy is listed as Connor Body Double. That's his credit. So they haven't cast him. Whoever they do cast has one hell of a body image to live up to. That dude's in shape.
Yeah.
but like emotionally, I saw that and went, oh hell yeah, yeah, and I kind of out loud, I think I literally said, oh fuck yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the scene keeps going, and it's kind of violent in the way that actually that really makes sense to me. Like they even did this in Young Justice, like when he's just a kind of a mindless clone, mostly mindless clone. He's pretty violent and untrusting, Mm-hmm. So we're gonna be following that pattern apparently. Great, sounds wonderful. I'm really looking forward to seeing what him and Dick Grayson's relationship is because that's probably gonna be super rewarding. But
super rewarding.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. But they got to the scene where it was like you saw the back of the dog in the cage. I went, oh no way. And at this point, this isn't my inner dialogue. I'm going to actually say what I said out loud, sitting in a room watching this alone at 12:30 in the morning. Oh no way. Mm-hmm. And then they cut to the front. He pulls the cage off, and you see the S. And I thought, yep, that's confirmed. And I actually said aloud again, oh no. And then they actually pull it out, and sure enough, like when the dog actually gets out and his eyes flash red, I literally jumped out of my car, out of my chair, and was like, "Fuck yes, crypto!" Like I couldn't be contained. I was worried I was going to wake people up. I was trying to level it down, but
Well, you're a big crypto fan.
I am a big crypto fan.
Your dog looks like crypto.
My dog looks like crypto. Like I wouldn't even be it if season 3 was like a crypto-centric season. It would make my day. I could do an entire we have a live action crypto, man. That's so freaking cool.
Yeah, it's weird and cool. Yeah, I'm down.
Oh, God, I was beyond excited.
What else you got, man? I don't know that I have much more.
Yeah, I mean, overall summary is like this is a show it's violent and it's mature and it expects that its viewers are mature enough to handle its content, and it doesn't apologize for who it is and it hits you in the face, and I love that. I absolutely love everything about that.
I love this show.
Really happy
so
with
far.
It. Like it has given me dangerous expectations for Doom Patrol.
Oh,
we're not far.
Whoever the guy that they got to play the chief in that one episode, I just didn't care for him.
It's okay. I think you're getting an upgrade.
I suspect I am. Hopefully, what's his face, whose name I can't remember now?
I want to say Timothy Daly.
Timothy Dalton.
Dalton, that's it. I was just the one movie Bond.
Yeah. Hopefully he won't ham up the scenery, chew the scenery like this dude did. Like he was some kind of mad scientist, which I guess he was a mad scientist, but it's the chief. But
and they released a tiny teaser. It's just them getting like a group photograph. Mm-hmm. Didn't mind any of that. I mean, I was excited. Even like their introduction in this series, just fantastic. Robot Man was delightful. That Negative Man cooking was one of my favorite things that happened.
Absolutely.
And on top of everything that's going to happen, and I really love the rest of that crew, but on top of everything, we're going to get Grant Morrison's Crazy Jane. Mm-hmm. That should shake things up good and nice. Good and nice. All right, it's exciting times on the streaming stuff. We're at the fuck you take my money point with them right now. They're doing great.
Yeah, I was talking with a friend earlier who was saying he was bummed out he had to wait for season 2. And I was like, yeah, but, like in February we're getting Doom Patrol. He was like, oh, good.
Like, well, but how
yeah,
long
but
until
that-
Titan season 2? I don't know, probably early 2020 right now. But I mean, after Doom
Yeah,
Patrol,
right.
you're getting Swamp Thing. Oh, seriously? Yeah.
They might be able to pull Titans out by late 2019.
It's possible. It really is.
They might be able to pull it
given
off
the
by fall.
timing of normal television, it's possible. And what is it? October, early October. I think the last show they have slated is Harley's animated series, which they're doing like the Friday before the Joker like standalone film is released. Doubling down on their marketing there, but there is time in that schedule. I mean, it'd be right at. I mean, it'd be this time next year.
Yeah, I want to say that I saw that they were. There's no official word, but I saw something saying that they thought they were going to be filming Titan season 2 in February.
And that tracks with
Or start it.
That tracks with what they're doing to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm voting latest possible debut is February 2019 or 2020, and I think that's going to be if something's wrong. I mean, I don't think it'll be that late at all.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else, man? You got anything?
No, I think I've rattled off enough.
Everything off your heart?
Just happy with the damn thing.
I feel like we've been blessed with a fantastic series. I don't know. Brings a tear to my eye, man.
A couple episodes did.
Yeah.
A little bit of humor in there, but they didn't try to force it.
Yeah, that was solid too.
When it was
That
around,
great.
it was funny. When it didn't make sense, they just told their damn story. One more thing.
Whoa, okay.
I do feel like this is what you get. We're in a new era. Between this and Aquaman, I think I'm comfortable saying we're beginning a new era of the WB executives not fucking with their creators.
Maybe so.
I think possibly Hamada might be the thing we needed, who's just saying, tell your story. I don't know
Maybe
if it's
so, man.
I don't know if it's as deep as all that, as far as like him saying like, oh, we've got your back, whatever you want to do. But
I don't know what he does with Titans or what he does with the DC universe.
I mean, Jeff
can't
Johns is
remember
involved.
all of his...
That's rarely a bad thing. He's deeply involved in the DC like streaming content. But Stargirl, that was the one I missed. That's the one between.
Yeah, there's going to be
between
Swamp
Thing
Thing,
and Harley.
Stargirl,
And then
Yeah.
Harley.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we got some casting news on that. It's going to be very exciting. But yeah, I don't feel like the WB executives were sitting and watching every episode saying like, oh, it's okay, but change this, and this, and make it 30 minutes shorter. You know,
Right.
which I realize you can't do with television, but still,
I mean, apparently they could because they.
hey, it's their streaming service. They could just say,
Yeah, I mean, but this last episode was not what they. I don't know if they were just trying to like hide what the real last episode was or what.
I don't know. There are some questions to be answered about, I'll say 11, 12, 13, as far as what we were originally told might be happening and what happened.
Yeah, and there were pictures of things that we haven't seen.
Yeah, some stuff was cut. That it remains to be seen what was going on there.
But we might be getting that next year as like a flashback or something. Or maybe
Definitely.
they'll pick up right where it left off.
Don't know. For all we know, they decided season 2 was going to go in a different direction completely and bailed on a couple of the storylines they were developing. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's entirely possible that one of the reasons the Superboy / crypto reveal was so well kept was because it was a last minute decision and they changed their plans.
Maybe, but I don't see that a lot. I don't know. It feels like a lot of that, and maybe this is just, them practicing their craft and being really good at it, but it didn't. It felt like they had to actually like build those Cadmus sets pretty well. Like they had to know exactly what they were doing for a long time.
Yeah, and it's no small thing to have an animal on set. That's really a lot. Like one of the more impressive things about them pulling off that reveal is that we don't have an on-set photo with somebody like hugging the cute dog.
Mm-hmm.
Like my fake Stephen Amell story.
What?
We had the fake Stephen Amell Scooby-Doo story.
Oh, right. I was like, do you tell people that you pet Stephen Amell? What?
No, it's something. I'm sure I could come up with something to describe that, but no. That is really impressive, though, that they managed to get a white dog on set and film it. And,
Let anybody know.
And like you said, it's a complex set they just built up there.
Mm-hmm.
They even managed to get a costume artist to put a S tattoo on a giant dude, and none of that made its way out to the press. They've got a tight ship there.
And I don't know. It looked kind of like a nest, a Superman logo tattoo, but it also looked like it was a barcode, maybe?
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe a version kind of thing, but I still dig the fact that it's like just one black S symbol with the shield. Like they didn't there's no like blue and yellow and red there. It was just the black version.
Yeah.
Like I fully believe that we're leaning into a version where we're just going to get Connor Kent, maybe with the white shirt with the black symbol and a black jacket kind of thing.
Maybe. I'm partial to the the black shirt with the red logo.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I think we're getting a black
I also
leather
like
jacket.
the leather jacket.
I'd put my money on black leather jacket.
I also like the leather jacket.
Yeah. Like I've got $5 right now on a leather jacket.
The Don't Call Me Superboy leather jacket.
All right.
I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna
wrap it up. I'm good.
Thank you for listening to this episode of DC on Screen, and we'll be back at some point relatively soon. Relatively.
It may actually be a couple weeks. We got a bunch of holiday hours coming up.
Yep.
On top of trying to squeeze it in between. I've still got baby stuff going on.
And I'm going out of town. If you think about it, though, the last episode we said that was the last episode before Christmas, and now you got this one.
Yeah,
so,
we squeezed it in.
An hour and a half talking about Titans. So if you're one of those people who didn't like Titans, you know my motto: kick rocks.
See you next time.
Fantastic stuff. If you want to come holler at us, we're on Twitter at DC on Screen, and you can send us an email at dconscreen@gmail.com, and we've got a phone number up on the website if you want to give us a call, voicemail. I don't remember the number. I'm just not going to remember it right now.
251-6993, I think. That doesn't feel right. I don't know.
No, that doesn't sound right. No. It's out there somewhere. I might put it in the show notes.
It involves some of the numbers I just said. You'll know when you see it.
Yeah. When we come back for the news episode, I have no less than 105 voicemails from Jordan Valdez. And
and we'll be playing all of them.
I'm just kidding, Jordan.
There's 3 hours of feedback at the end of the show.
Anyway, guys, until next time, keep some DC on your screen.
That was a good episode, guys. But you should have called him Mystery Dick, because nobody wants a Mystery Dick.
Our opening narration was from Dan Jurgens' The History of the DC Universe, Part 3 of 10, as featured in DC 52, Week 4. It was performed by me, David C. Robertson. Intro music by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Future Elevators, could be found on Spotify or future-elevators.com. Our introduction was performed by Effie Ophelders of the fantastic podcast Stealing the Remote, which lives on SoundCloud. It can also be found on iTunes and Stitcher. We are proudly in partnership with TV Time, the TV show calendar and social media site that lets you keep track of what you're watching, what your friends are watching, and where you all left off. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. Visit maladjusted.tv for more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, an improvised web series, vlogs, parodies, and more.
Are you maladjusted?
It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get up to a $25 gift card after rebate with the purchase of select Superstart batteries. Our professional parts people will test your old battery for free and recommend the right battery for your vehicle. For power, performance, and reliability, choose Superstart batteries only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.